Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Arsenal Away podcast with me, Samrid and Ashwin. We're a brand new podcast started a couple of months ago. We're on present on all social media channels. On Twitter, we're at the Arsenal Away. On Facebook, we're the Arsenal Away, and of course, we're on YouTube. Click the bell icon, subscribe to our channel to get notified whenever we post new content. Getting into it, um, great night for us yesterday. But before we talk about all the good stuff, we're just going to do a quick recap of the Chelsea game. Ashwin, I remember saying towards the end of the last podcast that I think we'll get a result, and I'd like to see us end the year on a win and hopefully start the new year with a win. Only one of those two things happened, but the signs were there in the Chelsea game that this was like a blueprint had been established. We'd already seen that at Bournemouth. The Chelsea game, the first half pressing right off the bat and then just fading away, which is pretty much what happened in the second half. Your thoughts on that?
So I think we discussed this, even though we've not done this on the pod. We discussed this saying that how vital it was for the players to get a win under Arteta, because for them to believe in another system, and if you don't get that win early on, then it kind of drains the confidence, right? And I think we discussed this in the last pod, saying that we were almost there at Bournemouth, and we should have gone on and won that game. Like I said, missed some chances. And the same thing happened again against Chelsea as well. We played a brilliant first half, missed a couple of clear chances that we should have taken against Chelsea. I mean, props to Lampard for changing it up. He spotted that our midfield was dominating, so he changed his five. He changed the system, and he made it four at the back. Got Jorginho on to control the ball and control the game a little better. That made the most of the difference, because the second half it was all Chelsea, and that's also because the way we played the first half with so much energy, so much passion. It's not something that we're used to. The team is not used to. Everybody was tracking back. Like, you could see Aubameyang making last-ditch challenges, going in. I mean, that's not even his job. And not only that, you can see Ozil putting in a shift and Torreira putting in a shift. And you could see by the end of the Chelsea game, they were completely beat. And I don't want to put any blame on Leno, but there were signs that even though without that mistake, it looked like Chelsea were going to score. And once they scored, you knew they would be on the up, because they had that momentum going away again, momentum going with them while we were tiring, and there was no one on the bench for us. I remember looking over to our bench. Mikel Arteta had nobody to bring on. He just had the youngsters to bring on. He needed somebody in that position to call upon, somebody in midfield who had maybe like a 33, 34-year-old who has that experience, who can control the game. Because obviously Xhaka missed out the game because of a concussion. Oh, I'm sorry, he was ill, so he missed that game. It was basically Guendouzi and Torreira that played in midfield. Ceballos wasn't available for that game. So there was nobody that he could call upon and really control the game. So it was bad luck that we lost against Chelsea, but there were signs. And there were signs from the first game as well. Coming to last night's game, I'm not happy that we beat United, because this United side is a real shit side. We really should be beating them. What I'm more happy about is that there's some semblance of Arsenal coming back. There's a structure to our play. There's a game plan, and everybody, like people are talking about how the big name players like Ozil, Xhaka, Aubameyang, Torreira, Lacazette are not going to listen to what Arteta is going to say, but they're all pulling in their weight. I was reading an article that spoke about how good David Luiz has been. And to be honest, even though we've conceded against Chelsea and Bournemouth, Luiz has had three fantastic games under Emery, or two fantastic games under Emery, and he's looked like a solid defender. Same way with Torreira as well, right? Like Torreira,
You meant Arteta, not Emery.
Oh, my bad. I'm so used to calling out Emery that it's just on my lips, man. But yeah, under Arteta. And yeah, you look at the same thing with Torreira as well. Torreira bossed the midfield because you're playing him in the right position. You're not Arteta played him where he's supposed to play, where he's most effective, and I think that brings out the best in Xhaka as well. Xhaka played two games. He played against Bournemouth. He missed the game against Chelsea, but he played against United, and he looked like both of them just dominated midfield. Okay, agreed. United's midfield had Matic and Fred, who aren't the best. If there was a Pogba in that midfield, that might have been a little different. but we dominated the midfield yesterday. And what was the best part to see is that everybody's enjoying themselves. Like David Luiz came out in an interview last night saying that when you're happier, you want to play better. And Papa Socrates basically said that the fun is back. It's like taking pot shots at Emery. I don't know if that is like a maybe because of the communication thing that they couldn't understand, or and the tactics weren't coming through. But it's just good to see that there's a game plan. Players are listening to what the manager is saying, and you can see improvements immediately. Which, like, even though we're a shit side right now, I'm still saying there's improve. Like, we're not going to go from 13th to top in the next 6 to 7 weeks, but it's there's improvement, and that's the best part to see. And more than anything else, have you ever seen the Emirates like that last night? It was rocking, it was amazing, and everybody put in a shift.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just going to go back to your previous point on, and you brought this up on when we've been speaking outside as well, that you're not we haven't seen the new manager bounce that you associate with the new manager coming in. You saw that immediately at West Ham with their 4-0 win away. You've seen it at several other clubs, and it invariably happens because players are energized. I think for us, while that energy was there, I think it's been actually, I think it's been good for us because we've had time to the players have had time to figure out what he's trying to do. They've seen, okay, it's working, but it's not there as yet. Also, the draw, we, like you said, we saw some aspects of it in the Bournemouth draw. We saw some aspects of it in Chelsea, and yesterday night it was pretty much the same thing as Chelsea's, but it just came to fruition yesterday. Of course, they were tired legs towards the end, and he's also said that it's going to take a while, and fitness levels are not there as yet. And I think in another 6 7 months we'll see things change. But what was really great yesterday was the fact that you said Torreira and Xhaka had really good games. They, everyone else, in fact, I don't want to just name Torreira and Xhaka. Everyone from man 1 to man 11, everyone was brilliant yesterday. No one is talking about the likes of an Ozil not just being lazy, who he's regularly over his Arsenal career has been labeled as just being lazy because they don't see how the British like to call it, him putting in the effort. Yesterday he ran I think about 11.5 kilometers yesterday. He's been putting in a shift towards the end of the game also. If, like you said, if players weren't happy, they wouldn't be congratulating Arteta. He hugged Mesut, he hugged Aubameyang. Lacazette was as ineffective as he's been in front of goal. Uh, his hold up play and his ability to just uh, make something out of nothing. The Maguire turn yesterday, where he just fashioned a half chance out of somewhere. The corner that Pepe had, it was Lacazette's flick on to De Gea, which then came off Lindelof, and then Socrates was there. The So I'm happy with how things are going. Yes, of course, it's going to take a little while, but yes, there is a certain game plan. It beggars belief that why this wasn't done 18 months ago. I mean, in hindsight, everything can be changed, and you can maybe look at maybe look at changing things. But it shows that how players, even top players who are coming either at the end of their careers or in their prime, and is now going to start fading away, like an Ozil, who's 31, who's maybe got 2 or 3 years, good years left under him. What what a sense of direction, how clearly a game plan needs to be defined. The moment is sold to players, be it when they're under 16, or be it someone who are senior pros like Luis or Socrates or anyone for that matter, a sense of direction, a clear sense of communication of what the manager expects them to do. Um, it's evident now. It's not, and it was pretty clear that from what Luis said in the post game, both Luis and Socrates said in post game, that the players know what they need to do. Arteta's laid out his cards that no one is untouchable anymore. So that's good. I'm I'm hopeful. Yes, I think yesterday's win will carry forward a lot more of the intangibles that we keep talking about in football. Um, like post match interviews, were everyone was buzzing, everyone was smiling. the stadium, like you said, was fantastic yesterday. Um, so this will have a knock-on effect into the coming games, and we don't have easy games. None of the games are easy in the league. Hopefully now with the FA Cup over the weekend on Monday night, and then us playing away to Palace, it'll give Arteta time to rotate, um, rest up some of the squad. We were 3 games in 6 days, um, and hopefully we come back against Palace in the same vein of form. And if it's not in the same manner, it'll be, if it's not player A, plan player B, because now the expectations are set and he knows what he, and players are also buying into his philosophy. So which is great. I'm very, very excited about how things are going to be shaping up. And I'm happy for Arteta as well, because it's one thing being talked about by the likes of Pep and Pochettino and everyone else, and it's another thing to put all that theory into practice. And he's doing that. It was very clear, and I honestly I didn't think it would be so clear so soon, but it's there, and it's exciting times right now. I don't know how it's gonna pan out. I don't think nobody anybody does, but it's still interesting to see where we're gonna be going over the next 6 months or so.
Something I want to just touch upon was that I was reading something after the game that uh, I mean, none of us knew that Kolasinac was going to be fit. Like I was reading the injury update, and everybody just spoke about how he's going to come back sometime mid-Jan or towards the end of Jan. And when the team news was announced, I think 5 minutes before that, somebody mentioned saying that Kolasinac is going to play, and then it was a surprise. And then watching him do, I think there was an interview after where they asked him, or when somebody mentioned that Kolasinac was only 50% fit, but then Kolasinac came out saying that, you know what, I think Mikel Arteta mentioned it, saying that, you know what, he came to me saying that, boss, if you need me, even though I'm 50% fit, I'm ready to fight for you. Which just shows you that there's something that Mikel has already done with this team, that he's got them believing and fighting for each other. I mean, when was the last time you saw Aubameyang? I'm not saying, like, everybody just speaks about how he's great in front of goal, but he doesn't contribute much anywhere else. When was the last time you saw him making these last ditch challenges, running to left back and running? He was I can't fault him for the last 3 games at all. The shift that Ozil, the shift that Lacazette, Aubameyang, Pepe, these guys who did nothing under Emery, or even under Freddie in terms of defending and tracking back. I remember we were talking about that game against Man City when Kevin De Bruyne came out and said, he's like, we know that the front four of Arsenal don't defend. So it becomes easy for us because there's space in midfield and the space between the defense. And that's what he's changed. And in such a short space of time, he's got them believing. And the best part is, this is not even his team, right? He's going to get a summer window where he's going to get a chance to go and buy some players. Hopefully, the board backs him, gives him the sort of opportunity that they gave Emery as well, so that he can set up his team. And you and me both know that there's not been enough time between these last 3 games for him to do any training sessions. He's mentioned it, saying that, all I can do is just basically talk to the players and ask them to put it into practice without us really having to practice that on the pitch, because there's not been much time for it. And for the players to listen and turn it around has been fantastic, right? I don't think I've seen us put in a shift like the way we did yesterday, even though, like you mentioned, we dropped off in the second half, but we were comfortable, right? It didn't look at any moment that United were going to score or we were in trouble. Like we reduced them to taking shots from 30, 40 yards. And it's,
I mean, just on that piece, I mean, I think we held United off at an arm's length because we knew what the game plan is going to be.
yeah,
Because he already saw that when he played City. He already saw that when he played City, where we just cut off their runners, and then they're just running into a wall pretty much. So it did seem like we went into the game with a game plan. It seemed like we were going to push them in the first half, and then we just knew that we'll take our chances if and what it comes to them. And after 2-0, they were pretty much done. It should have been 3 or 4-0 at the end of the first half,
it should have, like,
very easily. Because
Pepe had Shaw on toast last night. Like, it was amazing the way he. Okay, it wasn't more than anything about 45 minutes, but the first 45 minutes, Pepe looked like a different player, and we saw that. We saw that against Bournemouth when he got the last 10 minutes. He came on. There were glimpses of him doing that, and for him to come and the game he had yesterday, he was ridiculous. He hit the post. that he got the pre-assist to the goal to Socrates. He got a great goal himself, and just the way he even Pepe put in a shift. Like you're not used to him coming and defending. He was there. He was there defending, and not only that, we've criticized we've criticized Xhaka a lot, and we've criticized Ainsley Maitland-Niles a lot, saying that he's not a right back. And to be honest, he's not a right back. But under Emery, he's done really well. So okay, I keep saying under Emery again. Under Arteta, he's done really well. And when Bellerin comes back, I hope he just doesn't come and slot back into right back, because I want him to earn that spot, because I feel like the way Ainsley has played in the last 3 games, he's done really well. And I think that position where he comes and tucks in instead of going in overlapping in the front, where he sits in midfield when he tucks in when we have the ball, like the Kyle Walker role that they play for Man City, I think that's doing really well for him. And like yesterday, Rashford was on the left, and there was no threat at all. Like there wasn't a moment, one time, apart from the first shot that Rashford took in the first half, in the first 3 minutes or 2 minutes, that Ainsley was ever troubled. And if Arteta can have an impact on players so quickly, I just feel bad for the last 18 months. I think we just wasted time. the last
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's not. I don't think there's one player on the pitch who you can look at and say that hasn't improved in 3 games. And it boggles the mind that I'm saying that in 3 games, because you see players improve over a period of time. And quite honestly, I just think while the improvement is just them doing the basics right, which he's always talked about. He's always talked about, just if we get a basics right first, and that just comes instinctively, then everything else that we're talking about, be it tactically, be it more complicated game plans that he wants to implement, hopefully moving forward, will all that come into play. But I just think that they're doing the basics right. They're cutting off spaces, winning the second balls, pressing as a team. I mean, the number of times when United players had the ball and you had three Arsenal players just converging onto him. There's that one screenshot by our club photographer where you have, I think, Ozil,
Lacazette,
Niles, and someone else.
Lacazette.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ozil, Lacazette, and Niles closing in on Daniel James, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was at every step of, whenever we lost the ball, we were onto them. So I think it'll take some time for them, for us to instinctively have this. It'll be interesting to see when we go up against the likes of a City or a more potent attacking side, how we deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that we should expect us to go and win and whatnot, because they're obviously a well-oiled machine, and they probably do that with their eyes closed. But I'm very excited, and this is not. And people are saying that United were poor. Yes, they were poor. We should have been out of sight in the first half. But this is the United side that won at City. This is the United side that's beaten some of the bigger clubs this season over the last 2-3 games. So then it wasn't a cakewalk. And the fact that we made them look like, we made an 85 million pound player, the most expensive centre back in the world, apparently look look horrible. He was so many times caught out of position. The number of times he was turned, he had pretty much no clue. And you're right, the likes of Luke Shaw, who've been touted as the next best English left back since Ashley Cole, were on toast yesterday. There was was incredible. Another thing I just want to point out, just before we move on, is that while Pepe didn't seem too happy while he was coming off after 60 minutes, I think Arteta did that because he knew he was dropping off and he started being a little bit wayward.
Plus, he's
I
playing
like
with
that as well.
injuries.
That yeah, I like the fact that Arteta recognized that and didn't let him continue any further. So I like that. I like that he's being proactive. He's going into it with every he's going into it with a game plan. Coincidentally, even before the game started, apparently the Arsenal coaching staff had 8 players on the pitch, 8 Arsenal players, and they were doing drills of 5 forward and 3 at the back and just laying off balls, which is what happened in the game as well. So it's nice to see us, and nice to see a plan that they've spoken about and tried and trained, and then that coming off. So yeah, I mean, I can't wait for the next game to see what he does with against Leeds, for that matter.
So one thing I noticed really well last night was that I'm sure, like in terms of defending, I think Wan Bissaka has been one of the best right backs in the league. Uh, I've been watching a lot of fan channels from United where they talk about that nobody gets by him. Apart from this one game where he plays Crystal Palace, I think he's been phenomenal at right back while defending. And I think that's something that Arteta has recognized. So if you see, even though Aubameyang did really well on the left, there was never a time that Aubameyang actually took him on that right side. It was basically every time he got the ball, he passed it, and then he made runs inside. If you also notice, another thing is he never really played the left wing position. He was always playing the position between, say, Wan Bissaka and who was their defender in the midfield, in the defense, centre back. Um, yeah, Lindelof. Yeah, Lindelof in the center. So he was playing that position, and you could see Xhaka basically dropping off and filling in the left back position while Kolasinac was free on that wing himself. So what is really smart is that, and this is something that all the good teams used to do against us when like the Bayerns of the world, or the Barca's of the world, or cities of the world used to come and play us. They used to be able to switch wings very easily and find space, which is what we were doing. So I remember this one time we switched the ball from the left from Xhaka to the right, and immediately the whole United team came towards the right. And then we saw that opportunity where Kolasinac was all free on the left and played it back to Xhaka, and Xhaka spotted him, and he managed to get the ball in. So this is something that we're doing better. We're finding more space. We're making better runs. We're making better passes. We're making better decisions. And something that surprises me that can happen so fast, because to be honest, when we were watching these guys under Emery, at some point we all thought, okay, maybe it's not Emery's fault. The players are crap, and I think that thought crossed everybody's mind, saying that there are so few players in the team that are passengers who are being carried by the rest of the team and are not pulling their weight enough. But you can see the difference that Arteta has already come and made, and it's all about just positioning yourself smarter and just being, just cutting out angles and making it more difficult. You spoke about that position where three people were closing down on Ozil, Lacazette, and Ainsley were closing down Daniel James. How many times have you and me discussed when we played the bigger teams in the Bayerns and against City, against Liverpool, when like how well they press and they close, right? Like they attack you with like three, four people, and they force you into making errors, which is exactly what we did yesterday to United. And I've seen us do this before under Wenger, but I've never seen us do it consistently. So if Arteta, I mean, we've done it over two games now, over Chelsea and United. But if Arteta can make us consistently do this and close down and press and get the ball, that's just going to make us a better team. And you could see the energy at the Emirates yesterday was at a different level because we were closing people down, and nobody's used to us doing this. So only, I mean, positive signs. It's only going to get better from here. I'm happy. I have a smile on my face again. I think we both discussed it, saying that we're both now looking forward to football again. That had that 18 months not sucked the life out of us, and you know that
Yeah,
those 18
about
months
that. It's
robbed
those 18 months have robbed us of um Ozil
yes
in
his
his
prime.
prime. It's robbed us of maybe Arteta implementing a system earlier. I mean, even if I were to give them benefit of doubt of 18 months, if I were to just talk about getting rid of Emery after the league's last season, and maybe giving Arteta a summer, or even if I were to give the board that benefit of doubt that maybe okay, they thought they finished fifth in final of Champions League first season, that's fine. What they did after the Leicester game um, was inexcusable, and any other forward thinking club, any other proactive club would have sacked their director of football, would have sacked the likes of Raul.
Mm.
Um, and right now, and I'm sure if we finish the season strong, Raul is gonna is gonna get is gonna be really happy. He's gonna try and take some of the limelight away from Edu. Even though as of this point, the interview that he and Edu did, he very slyly
Put it
pretty much
on
made it
Edu.
all about Edu's shoulders. And I hope Edu is vindicated as the season progresses. Um, I hope that I hope we do well. I'm not saying we're going to become challengers this season, but this season is a write-off pretty much. But I'm not saying we're going to start competing for the title next season. But I think given more time, he there will be improvements in the team. He, like you said, he's going to get his own players in. Hopefully, the board backs him. Um, but we've lost out on the opportunity after in the summer, especially how excited we were in doing something great this season.
Mhm.
And by great, I mean just getting back to the big boys dining table and hopefully doing something. Maybe that can still happen. Maybe Arteta might just be what we are looking for in Europe. The Europa League is still we're still there. We still got a relatively less difficult fixture than the other teams. We're not playing the likes of an Ajax or an Inter. So that's still there for us. I just hope that um, Arteta isn't hampered by injuries which just keep mounting up with the likes of Chambers going off, which I think was who's been pretty much our best player, best defender in this entire season. You and I have spoken about him and how consistent he's been and how good he's looked both at centre half as well as playing out wide. I just hope the injuries and our current style of play doesn't catch up to us at the wrong time in the season when we really need players. And I hope the board backs him because everyone can see now what he's trying to do. The fans are up for it, and now it's if the board don't back him after getting results, then we know where the issue is. And I won't be surprised if that comes to that because the board and the owners have always been someone who've been very reactive. I've always maintained that whatever decision needed to be made with the past regime needed to be done quickly. It didn't happen,
Mhm.
as you very rightly predicted. I think I hope, even though he's got a 3.5 year contract, I hope they do justice to him after seeing the improvements over the short burst. And I don't think it's gonna be I don't think it's a false dawn. I think there is something there that, as Arsblog said today, green shoots on a parched earth is what we're seeing right now. So now it's on them to support him as much as possible. I'm not saying we go overboard, but making the right decision, making the right choices when required.
I know we've been crap for so long, so we haven't done this for a while, but I'm bringing it back. I'm just going to ask you our player ratings for last night because I can't get over how good we were last night. So I'm going to start with the back key of the keeper. I know he made a mistake against Chelsea, but he's been our savior this year. So how did you rate him last night?
Yeah, no, I think the Chelsea game was an aberration. He's single-handedly, I think, kept us in most of the draws that we've had this season, as well as the wins we've been able to scrape through. Um, I think he was relatively comfortable. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. I think there was a couple of shots in the second half that came close to disturbing the net, but didn't really. So
Mm-hmm.
I think give him a solid 7.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
All right.
not. I mean, only I'm not giving him higher rating because of the fact that there was nothing that there wasn't a match saving save. He was just a solid performance by him. So a 7 for him.
So no nonsense, and that's exactly just what you
No
need.
nonsense. I mean,
Yeah,
that's yeah. I mean, that's the level. I mean, that's where we're at with Leno this season. He's been
yeah,
a player of the season by far, and anything more is just needs to have been match saving yesterday. Didn't
yeah,
really warrant that, but it was a solid 7 yesterday.
yeah, yeah. Ainsley.
Ainsley was good. I think I'll give him. In fact, I'll give both the fullbacks an 8 until Kolasinac went off. I think both of them give them an 8. Kolasinac for the run that he made for Auba's pass for the first goal.
Mm-hmm. Cut back FC
And
back, huh?
Cutback FC's back. And Niles, just because he's looked just more comfortable. Like you say, he's trying to do that Kyle Walker role. So I think he's getting the best of both worlds, getting to play at a fullback and also playing in his preferred midfield position, midfield role, rather not position. But give both of them an 8.
Okay.
Luis and Socrates again solid. Both of them an 8 again. Luis maybe slightly higher, 8.5,
I think
because
he
it showed.
Yeah, I think he bossed the
Yeah,
game. He looked like the 85 million defender. He was cheering on every pass. Like I remember there was a time when I think there was a great play that we had that led to a corner or something, and you could see him fist pump the air, all that. He was really
Yeah,
excited. He was pushing us on.
it shows why I think managers like him, because he's an influence on in the dressing room.
Yeah,
He shows that he can lead. He's won big titles. The interview yesterday was, I think, the first time I've heard a player ever come out and say something like that,
yeah,
which showed that there is respect there.
yeah.
He knows the right things to say and do and how to motivate players and teammates. So yesterday was like Luis showing himself as a leader
Also, what I noticed
right
was
throughout.
before the game started, when the guys get into the huddle, the person talking in the huddle
Yeah,
was Luis. He was the one shelling out the instructions
Luis. Yeah,
and everything, right? So that's a big
yeah.
responsibility. Even though Aubameyang is captain, Luis was the one giving the team talk. So that's massive. So okay, moving on. Let's move on to our midfield. Let's start with Torreira.
Otrera and Xhaka, both eights. I mean, I'll sound like a broken record because they were both brilliant yesterday. Torreira playing in his position in last three games, he's been brilliant.
Mhm.
Xhaka coming back. It's good to have a seasoned professional there in that midfield as opposed to the likes of a Guendouzi who can seem rash at times. Also, we need him. Uh, I know I'm not the most popular guy when I try and support Xhaka, but I think he brings a lot into the team outside of his goals and assists and the Mark Noble numbers that people talk about.
No,
So
but the thing is, I think the way that Arteta is setting up, he needs somebody to control the midfield, and I think Xhaka can really do that well, as long as as long as the defensive responsibilities are left on somebody else, right? So, like, I think we spoke about this at the start of the show where we said that Torreira playing in his right position, obviously you're going to see him flourish because Emery played him as the number 10, and that's not the position that he plays. And you've seen that over the last three games against Bournemouth, against Chelsea, and United, he's run himself into the ground. Yesterday, he had to have an energy bar to stay on, and it's just amazing. Like, he's there against Chelsea. He was the better player compared to Kante. Right? When you compare the two of them, it was all him till the second half, till we managed to like completely tire away and Chelsea overtook us. But he was everywhere, and I'm just so glad to see him because this is the player we signed, and not the player that was playing in the 10 and being useless in the last 3-4 months ago, right?
yeah, yeah.
So eighth to our midfielders, I'm going to go to Özil. What do you think about Özil?
Well, first 90 minutes yesterday. In a while, did he play 90 minutes against? No, I don't think he played 90
Uh,
minutes against either Bournemouth or Chelsea.
74th minute.
Uh, yeah, 90 minutes yesterday. Uh, Yesterday was the Ozil of old, controlling midfield, pulling strings, doing what a number 10 is supposed to do. Arteta came out later on and said that the team is built around him and it caters to how he plays. I mean, he's basically the orchestrator for the team right now.
I'm so glad
As
somebody sees that potential. Imagine
Yeah,
every dropping him and not playing him for like 15 games this season.
that was criminal. I mean, it's all in the past now, but hopefully that continues. We need someone of his guile, someone of his vision, someone of his just pure technical ability and quality on the pitch. Um, and we've known what happens when he's not around. We play Torreira at 10,
Mhm.
so we need his quality eight again.
So quickly, our front three with Oba, Laka, and Pepe. How do you think they did?
Okay, so I mean, you measure strikers by their goals and their link-up play up front. I'll start off with Lacazette. Lacazette, he's had a pretty much off season ever since he's come back from injury. Um, I'll give him a 7 because of his just how he ran rings around Maguire yesterday.
Mhm.
He made
Otherwise, he's
Maguire
been
look.
poor in front of goal.
Yeah, he's been poor in front of goal, but he yesterday was, I think, I understood why Arteta keeps picking him because he brings a lot of like I say the intangibles into the game. So
Something what
that is great.
Firmino does a lot for Liverpool.
Correct.
Yeah.
Firmino would rather just be the support casts to the likes of a Sane or a Salah. Sorry, not Sane. Sadio Mane or a Salah. So I think he was good for us. Oba, while quiet game, he did have that one chance that he blazed over the bar from Pepe's cross. Again, I'll give him a 7. But yesterday, by far, I think miles ahead of both of them was Pepe. Open play goal again.
Mm.
Had Luke Shaw on strings. He had no clue what to do with him. Laying off the ball for Lacazette to then turn Maguire. The corner that he took, um, just his ability to. It just seems that he's doing things a little quicker and not as. There seems to be an agility to his play that's come about. Maybe
What's
out of being
also,
out dropped out of this.
oh, sorry, I'm cutting you off. What's also really funny was that we actually rehearsed a set play and we actually looked like we threatened. It was our first corner of the match, and that you know when all the players went and surrounded David De Gea, I think the United fans players were a little confused as to what they were doing, and immediately you saw, like I said, making that run and getting to the near post and flicking that on. So it's a rehearsed set play. So I'm so glad that somebody's actually taking control of our corners and improving us on set plays and using that as another dimension for us to score goals. Because
Yeah,
under Wenger, we used to get tons of corners, but we never did anything with it. Like probably out of like 50 corners, we get like one goal or so. But I'm just so happy that we rehearsed something and then it came off the training ground and it looked amazing and it was really good.
yeah. So
So
yeah,
that
I think Pepe would be like I guess highest rated. I think about a 9. I guess I'll give him for yesterday.
So anyway, looking forward to the game. We got a Monday night game against Leeds in the FA Cup. Uh, Considering that we've just come off three really, really gruesome games in terms of us running, in terms of physicality, and in terms of us not being able to rotate as much as we wanted. I know the FA Cup is not the Carling Cup, and we usually put out a strong team. But do you think Arteta is going to rest some of his big guys, or he's going to continue with his strong 11?
No, I think he will because right now, as much as we got the win and whatnot yesterday, but we're still 10th. We need to move up the table
Mm.
because there's still about a 9 point gap between us and fourth place. And the way the season is going, the moment we just need one team to go on a run uh, and then challenge for that fourth spot. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but the possibility is still there because Tottenham are really aren't like Mourinho is 3 games in is already throwing players under the bus. Uh, uh,
I have to admit
he's
something. There was a point where I actually said I wouldn't mind Mourinho, and I mentioned this on the podcast. That was the level that Emery had driven us to, where we wanted Mourinho, and I'm
yeah
so
no
glad. I'm so
yeah.
glad we haven't gone and got Mourinho because what was that yesterday? Did you see him throwing Ndombele under the bus?
And
Yeah,
Dombele, he called the opposition coach
yeah,
an idiot.
an idiot. Yeah,
Got booked, got yellow carded. So I think I'm glad we didn't go down that route. I was tempted for someone like him, but then the point then becomes that he's everything. He's everything that Arsenal don't stand for.
yeah, yeah.
So, anyways, but it's hilarious to see that happen to that lot, and I don't think there's a combination of a shite manager and a shite club.
Plus,
They
Kane's got
deserve
picked
each
up for a
other.
hamstring injury.
Plus,
Yeah,
Kane's also had his annual hamstring
yeah,
issue.
yeah.
So Dele Alli was diving all around the pitch yesterday. Your Jesse Lingard had 0 shot, 0 assists, and 0 goals last season. He barely on the pitch yesterday. He's being abused left, right, and center. Goldbridge is having a meltdown. Um, um, the United Stand FC guys stood up and said that we got battered yesterday.
Mm.
There are Ole out accounts popping up everywhere. There are Ole out headers everywhere. So yeah, long may it continue. Long may everyone else suffer. I actually think that we'll come closer to the top 4. I think our only realistic challenger is Chelsea, and Chelsea have got money to burn because they haven't spent anything over the last year and a half.
Mm.
So I think they'll probably pip us to the post there, but I think I see us finishing. And again, there's just one game, and I know I shouldn't be taking that as evidence, but signs point to us finishing strongly.
All right, quickly then, before we end the podcast. Predictions for Monday night and maybe the sort of lineup that he puts out.
Predictions. His lineup. I think it'll be a youngish lineup. I think you'll see a lot of these youngsters come in. Definitely resting everyone. The senior squad for the Palace away, which is going to be tough again. Um, I think Nketiah might come back. I think he's been recalled from his loan. I don't know whether he'll stick with us or go out because I think there was some interest from Bristol City. I think.
Bristol City, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if he'll play that game for us or he might just go out on loan. But I think it'll be a much more different line. I think the likes of Ceballos and Holding, Bellerin, Saka, Martinez, and some of the like Tolaji Bola's been training with the team.
Mm.
He might come back, come into the squad. So I think it'll be a youngish squad. And honestly, I know you just mentioned that it's not the Carabao Cup in which we can give less importance to. FA Cup has been nice, kind to us over the last few years. We're the club with the most number of FA Cup trophies, so I think we'll give it its importance. But um, quite honestly, I just rather just focus on the league and just keep getting points and go as far as possible in Europe.
So I just before we did a pod, Arteta came out with his press conference. I mean, the game is Monday night. I don't know why they're getting him to do a pod on. I mean, to his presser on Thursday. But he did mention about the importance of the FA Cup and how it is a trophy that he wants to win, right? And I think there are two things that we can play for basically this year. It's either the FA Cup and the Europa League. I'm not saying that we're going to win both, but I think that's going to be a target for him to get something. And I have a feeling he's not going to go with a completely youngish squad. He might rest the likes of, say, an Aubameyang and, say, an Ozil. But I think 90% of his squad was going to probably he's going to stay with the big guns and then probably change them up a little bit. I think he'll stick with Lacazette because I think he needs a goal. And I think once Lacazette gets the goal, it'll be like a weight off his shoulders as well because it's been affecting him, his overall. I mean, even his overall game was much better yesterday, but sometimes you could see like those touches that he makes are just like eluding him, and that usually doesn't do that. He's not that sort of player. But yeah, I think he'll stick with the. I think 80 to 85% of his squad will be the big guys, and then he'll want to probably beat Leeds, and go on to the next round, and take the FA Cup seriously. That's just how I feel.
I was just looking at the fixtures, and we play Leeds Monday night, and then we play
Palace
early kickoff on Saturday, which is
Saturday.
6 p.m., which is not really been kind to us
Yeah.
over the years.
Mhm.
So I don't know if he'll play his senior squad as much because it'll give him about 3 days or 3.5 days before the Palace game, which is important. So I expect a much more younger squad to come
Okay.
in there. I think also the fact that the likes of Ceballos and Martinelli, Holding coming back, Bellerin coming back, will also just ease off the pressure for everyone else. Just give someone a breather, and they'll know that there's like as Wenger used to say, Ceballos will be like a new signing.
Mhm.
So it'll be good, and it'll be interesting to see what Arteta does with the likes of Ceballos, how he wants him to play. Um, like I said, I mean, every player coming in now and how his game improves is exciting, and I can't wait to see where we go.
Quickly then, score predictions.
Score predictions. I think it'll be a tight game because it's Bielsa at the end of the day.
Hmm.
He'll have seen how we've been playing, what our weaknesses are.
And let's not forget,
I think
Leeds are coming back
yeah.
into the Premier League, so they're going to be a tough team to play.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to overestimate how good they are. They're currently they're first tied on 52 points. They came close last season as well, only to miss out on the playoffs.
Yes.
This season I think they look much more settled, and I think they probably make it. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited to see to watch Bielsa play against us. Predictions, I think we'll win. I think it'll be a close win. I think a 2-1 is what I'll probably go with.
Yeah, I think if the game goes into a draw, do we go into extra time and penalties there, or do we play a second? I think they've scrapped the second round, right?
No, I think it's scrapped the second round. I think that's
Yeah.
only. I think that's past the quarters. I think is when
So
quarters more onwards. I think it's
it
two-legged.
might be like a 1-1, and we might scrape it on penalties because I don't see us getting a goal on any extra time because I think the players are going to be really fatigued by the time we play. I think we probably scrape it on penalties and go through. But yeah, I think we should go through.
No, I think we probably will. I don't think he'll go to penalties though.
Okay, all right. Anyway, guys, that's been the show. Thanks, Amrit. It's been fantastic. I mean, it's been a long time. It's been a long time coming. We've not been so excited. I mean, last time we were this excited was when Emery signed, and we had the first 10 games under him when everything looked rosy and everything looked great. But yeah, onwards and upwards from here. Arteta's doing a great job. Long may it continue. And yeah, like that's the show. Like Samrit mentioned at the start of the show, we are on all our socials are basically we're on Twitter, the Arsenal Away, Facebook, the Arsenal Away again. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's a small button at the side next to the red button. Please hit that. There's a bell icon next to it. So every time we come up with a video, you get an update that when we come out of the video. We do about 2 or 3 videos a week, and that's been the show. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.